We'll go ahead and call the meeting, to order. If you want to start with introductions.
Owen Friend Gray.
Robert Kelly.
Carol Martin, School Board Rep.
John Moore.
John Decker.
Michelle King.
Jeffrey Morrison.
Mike Kelly.
Awesome.
Okay,
We'll
we got a
note-
few people absent.
Yep. Tom B. I don't know how to say his last name. And then Tom Lavelle and Sandra.
Sandy emailed us
Yeah.
Okay.
a couple hours ago.
She sent an email.
So she was gonna be out.
She wasn't gonna make
Okay.
it.
Okay. Did you guys look over the meeting minutes from last time?
Yep, I did.
Okay.
I make
So this is the November 10th one, so that's not the last meeting.
Oh, that's not the last one.
Prior meeting.
Oh, sorry, the 10th.
This
Yeah,
is-
for the 10th. Yeah, did we even get the ones from the last meeting yet?
I haven't seen.
I haven't checked my
So,
email.
sorry, so I'll make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes from December 10th.
I'll second.
All those in favor to accept the meeting minutes from November 10th?
Aye.
November? That was November. yeah.
November
I
10th.
said December.
Oh.
But November. I meant November.
All right, minutes
Don't jump us
accepted.
forward in time, Jesus,
Wait.
late enough already.
So when we do this, you guys also have to do this because she's gonna be doing this off recording. When we say, when we disapprove that, everybody on the board approved the minutes for October 10th.
Yes.
November 10th or whatever.
Everybody here.
November
Yep.
10th. Yep,
Just so that she doesn't know if
Okay.
anybody's saying abstain or any of this.
Right.
sounds good. Okay, moving right along, town draft budget.
So I'll start off here, just move this along right now. Everybody got, what?
Revised.
This one and this one.
Well, yeah, one was printed, then I fixed it, and I gave you the new one that's,
Okay.
All right, so we're looking at the new one.
look at all my scribbling.
All right, sounds good.
You can look at the other one as cross-reference to what I did.
Okay,
And I'll explain what I did and why.
okay.
No.
I did give you a revised one, right?
Yeah, I had a revised, but this is what I'm looking for.
Okay.
All right, so I don't think anybody does here have the spreadsheet we gave out last meeting that showed all the numbers for the town and everything like this.
Yep.
If you, I forgot what line item it was, but if you saw in there, there was a number that said $300,000 in last year's under fire department.
I remember
Okay.
that.
If you guys remember that line,
Yeah, I remember that.
all right, this is
Oh,
$300,000.
yeah, this one here.
Correct. So, that line item, that's why when you look at column, if you look at, on the paper that I gave you, it said 300,000, and I changed it to 225,
Yep.
Right?
Yep,
even though it says 300 there. Because if you read warrant article, which I'll read it out to the public, Article 5 warrant article, shall the town vote to add 3 full-time personnel to the fire department, which calls for a salary and benefit for the fiscal year of 2023 of 225,000.
Right.
And further to raise the appropriate of 75,000 for the current fiscal year. That means the year we're in now. So we weren't allowed to bring over the 300,000 because if you take the 75,000 and you times it by 3, it becomes 225,000. When the chief wrote this article, he was predicting that the 3 full-time fire departments that he's adding is going to cost the town 75,000 every 4 months. So, but we did, because we just took the two numbers and stuck it together and made it 300. But that's wrong.
Right, that's wrong, yeah.
So that's why I changed it.
Yep, so. hang on a
Okay.
second. So, what does it say?
Where, do you wanna see the warrant article?
that was a good
Here
one.
it is. So, moving on, that changes all the numbers, you'll see where I did. The calculation of proposed operating budget is no longer,
So, wait, shouldn't that be 25, I mean, the 75,000 for last year, for current year?
sure, but it's going in, we're adding it to make column F. So you gotta take that number last year, add the 225 to get you the number of 4,794,877.
Right, yeah, so column F is the 225.
Right, so I'm worried about column F,
Right, okay,
because that's what we're talking about here tonight.
Yep.
yep.
Column,
But is the 4419877 correct?
it should be.
What you're adding it
That
I didn't
should,
go add everything up from
it
last
should
year,
be,
so.
the,
Well, look on there.
to? It's not, well, this is wrong. This spreadsheet is wrong because it has the 300.
Right, we might have
So
added,
you're
what-
taking the
that
300
should have,
out.
that 300 on the
Right, so they
spreadsheet
took out
should have
the
been
300 there.
75.
so,
So this should be the 4.
right. So again, I just noticed this at 4 o'clock before I was coming in, so I was trying to,
Okay,
and I talked to the town administrator at 4 o'clock. And I was like,
Okay.
listen, this
Okay.
shit's wrong.
okay.
So we didn't really have, I didn't have the time to go
Yeah,
back to go through everything, but
For
I wanted to
sure.
make sure that we.
no worries.
So it
So your
says,
warrant article note's not the same though.
the
Yes, well, we're not supposed to
2022 budget is,
It's 4222256.
it
4719,
says
not 44.
4719.
Right, but the warrant article that approved the budget was a different number. Article 4, it was not that number.
Yeah, so,
Was that the default?
No, the default was 4139.
we got some issues here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some questions. We got these
So, but getting back to what I was thinking.
Either way, you shouldn't add it.
Either way, again, the default budget might need to go up 75 if we would've took that money last year, you know, and it was in the 2022 budget, the 75,000 we expenditured. That should probably go into the default budget, raising it 75,000, because literally the default budget is what our budget was last year,
Right,
right?
Yes, yeah, no, that belongs in,
That's why I'm
They-
saying,
the
that's why I had the note on the
220
bottom.
the 225 belongs in the default because it was approved.
It was approved for an expenditure for, well, yeah,
For-
again,
for
maybe
two-
it should go in.
Right, it belongs
So
in
then it-
next year's default, the whole
There you go.
225, because it was approved.
See, this is why we're here tonight. So we might need to add the whole 300,000 to it.
Yeah, I guess if that's how, a whole 300,000 or, well, seven. the-
Well, we spent 75 last year, and we spent
Right.
225 this year, but
Yeah.
if it's gonna go into a default budget, no, the
Well,
default budget would
the-
be still 225, no, it'd still be 225.
Yeah, yeah, it would be the 225.
So maybe this 4419 includes.
It
Still
must
not the
include
right
some of
numbers.
the other warrant articles or something. I don't know.
I don't know, it says Article 4 has that number in there, 4419877.
or two-
I have to do the math.
Should this article be defeated, default budget 42?
yeah, 'cause it's not the same on there.
Yeah, it doesn't match. So we gotta go through it and figure out what's different.
All right,
More
so,
homework.
so there's number one. All right,
Okay.
but I mean, that's why we're doing this, right? It's a draft. It's
So
nothing
one
in
of the,
stone.
right, but it's for all us to be acknowledged, so one of the
Right.
problems that happens here is because we're taking 225 instead of 300 from the numbers, it increases the amount that we're expendituring this year. All right, so to hit our 4% mark, you know, it really gives us a higher number of over 200,000 that we need to cut to 4%.
How does the default and this 4% cap kind of work together? If the default is actually.
I don't know.
It doesn't. The cap doesn't affect the default.
Okay.
No, the
That's what I
cap is
thought.
based on the total
Right.
taxes raised in the prior year, right? It's not actually based on the budget.
And it's not
Default's
binding.
always,
So if you
No,
don't
well,
approve the
it's-
proposed, it
It's
goes to the
binding
default.
for us.
Right, it's not binding on the voters.
It's
so-
not right, so.
At
it can
deliberative, it can
change
get
at
changed.
deliberative. It has to change. We can't go above that.
But the default is, well, you can ask the town's attorney whether it's binding on us or not, but
It is binding to us.
it has nothing to do with the default. The default could be 7%.
Right, the default, okay, it has nothing to do with the default, which is what I thought. It has to, the
Has to do with
proposed
the
has to do with
proposed.
us of what we can bring to deliberative, but then at deliberative, it can change because it's not
Let's see.
binding to the deliberative. Which kinda stinks, just the whole.
Well, that's how I know, but, I mean, that's what happened. You were there last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people just go up and,
Legal loopholes, I guess.
yeah.
It's a pain in the butt, the whole thing,
Yeah.
because it just makes,
They passed us an article on the ballot for the,
Well, I mean, we're doing all the work to get this done.
Yeah.
And so, someone can just come and like trump all the work we just did, it's
yeah,
like,
I mean, there's a difference.
so,
There's a different cap on that for deliberative, but it's like, I don't remember what that is. I think that might be 10%.
I think you're right.
So. Okay.
Alright,
what
So you
else
see the
got
numbers are all
going?
screwed up,
Yeah.
So the numbers are all screwed up, but it's all screwed up by 75,000?
roughly right,
All of these changes?
roughly right.
Okay.
75,000 has to be figured out everywhere else, cause it's
Oh,
wrong.
I was looking at the wrong, this is the, that was at deliberative. So the number that was actually on the warrant is that 409.
That's
So that does
correct.
match the, okay. The number at deliberative was the 4222. And then what went on the warrant was actually the 4419877. So at least you're starting with the right number. Alright, that makes more sense.
So the real nutshell comes down here is, we as a board, the Board of Selectmen, are going to have to do a lot of, soul searching on what you think you might wanna cut and who you're gonna affect with this budget in order to get to the fore. I feel right now, in my personal opinion, and again, it's not the opinion of the board, it's mine, that the Board of Selectmen is not gonna come in at 4%. So we're gonna leave it up to you to find what X amount after we decide what we feel is the necessary cuts. We're gonna leave it up to this board.
so you haven't talked about,
Oh, we've made some suggestions, but we haven't found.
What are you
Cuts
close-
of over $200,000.
what number are you close to?
Maybe about 130. So we might have to find another 100,000.
And that's fair.
Sure. But I just want you to know that everybody's gonna be looking here later on to say, where'd this other 100,000? So if it's,
So there's gonna be some long
if it's
nights.
social services that are getting cut, it's gonna have to what it's gonna be. If we're gonna have to do this, we're gonna have to do this. Maybe we have to
Or
add
do we
more
just-
warrant articles.
Or we just cut it, right, or do we just cut everything?
Cover
5%?
everything equal, yeah, evenly, and then,
You know, and then you guys, then it goes back to the select board.
Sure, sure.
But it kinda stinks, the whole thing.
Sure.
I don't like it.
No, but
It's
it's,
just, it's.
No, cause you're working within a box, you're working
Right.
within a parameter, and it's not fair,
no, it does, I mean, again, it is what it is.
right? No, I get, I
I'm gonna
understand.
pitch my case whether if I feel it's necessary or not.
Right.
This time with, we're dealing with inflation that's going up.
Right.
The fact that we had to give employees more money this year because the mass exit of employees was happening. That if we didn't pay our employees here more money, we weren't competitive.
Yep.
And we're still not even competitive. I mean, we're getting there, we're closer. Good thing we have a lot of loyalty in the people that work here. Cause they live in town and
Right.
stuff like that, which is great.
And everything in town is pretty aged and is,
Those are warrant article problems, right?
that's
for
still
stuff like
more,
this. Sure,
it's still more,
money,
because the
still more.
services are gonna cost more because of inflation, so it's not gonna be,
Yeah.
they're not gonna be easy jobs, and then you can't find people, so how long are they gonna be broken? How long
Sure.
are we gonna be out without those services?
So again, that's one of the things where, when it comes to, because we're going to deliberation, which is gonna go in front of the town. So everybody here, when you do your cuts and what you write down, prepare to defend them in front of the people in the town and why you're cutting it.
100%, yeah.
Either that, or we go in front of, as individuals, can also go
Again,
on.
that's something you guys can figure out on how you wanna dictate how the meeting goes. It's not my,
Yeah.
you guys did a good job last year, though. It was like 10.7%, you brought it down like 4%,
It was a
right?
lot.
yeah.
So they were asking for
We,
double,
every
you
year,
cut
I've been
it in
doing this
half
is my
last year.
fourth year, but even the 3 years that I've been on
happens
it.
often where it starts high and it gets trimmed.
Of course, I
trimmed,
mean,
trimmed,
we're
trimmed.
fiscal, we don't wanna spend money, we don't wanna see our taxes go up as high, I mean, we pay taxes too.
I was surprised when I heard
No, but-
double digits, I'm like, oh boy. But
Yeah.
That was
Right.
early on.
And again, we have some plans and things that we might do to help, but again, I don't personally
Is
see
there
that
anything
the
from
number.
the budget last year that wasn't spent, like the school was like, what, 500,000? Was brought back or something this
Right,
year?
but okay, so
You
you
have that,
could,
like,
you
in the
could
town?
also, what you could do is like some people say is that like we have our, general fund. All right, the fund balance, whatever you wanna call it, different names. Now, you could end up giving some of that down to buy down the tax rate. All right, but the problem is, you don't have that money next year to rebuy it down, so
Right.
everything
You're
X
still
doubles.
in the same, you're still in the same situation, it's just a Band-Aid,
Well, it's gonna make it worse for the year after,
yeah,
cause then there's no way you're gonna make
bigger
it.
and bigger and bigger.
So,
You have to legally keep a certain percentage in there anyway.
yeah, we keep 8 and 15%. And we keep it around 8. We're not trying to keep no gigantic number in there. That's
No, I
not
know,
the,
it's not.
you know, but again, because we try to run a tight budget so that there isn't the over expenditure, that you have excess surplus, and that's how you get the money to go in that fund.
Yeah.
Is you have to have excess surplus money. You know, because of stuff you didn't spend. Well, we're spending everything because
We don't have anything
we don't have any
extra.
real extra to say, hey, where does it go?
And
So
I know,
we
I
did sign
think,
up for Guide Star. You guys know what that is?
no,
Oh, I watched the meeting, I know what that is.
That's Tom's,
Done
Tom's
it about
baby.
400 times.
Okay.
I learned he's got a big thing about that and
What's signed up,
phones.
the rec department or?
The rec is on there, the Nottingham Youth
so-
Association's on there, the,
GoFundMe for certain.
For
departments.
nonprofits, so
Yeah.
that we can be recognized as nonprofits, so they can.
so you can go to the
fund.
website, just type in Nottingham, just don't get confused with Nottingham, England,
Yeah,
or Nottingham and, but there is, you can see where it says Nottingham, New Hampshire, and I think there's 5 different things that we're signed up for.
nice.
In order to try to find some extra money or for
That's
people
good.
to be donating.
It's not a bad thing, I don't think.
No, it's like
Can't hurt.
programs, instead of cutting programs, people want it, they can, you know, keep it rolling.
Hopefully, yeah. That's what I'm
Hopefully
hoping
people
for.
contribute.
Question, John, on
Yeah.
the, property, when you build a new property or new house, there's a tax impact
Yes.
fee, right?
Impact fee.
Where, how does that get divvied up, or what percentages go where, and?
So they
Like-
give it divvy up between the fire department, the rec department, the police department, and the school.
The
There's
conservation?
different
thought it was
percentages for different
Right,
things.
depending on what your
Conservation, I
budget is.
thought.
The larger
Based on
budgets,
what's
obviously, you
been
might get a bigger
adopted.
percentage,
Yeah.
and, you know, the smaller budget's gonna get a smaller percentage, but it's divvied up in those there, and if the department doesn't spend, it goes into their own funds. If they don't spend that money for whatever, then after a 6-year period, it'll go back to the, whoever the homeowner is at that time.
they have
So you could be
6
the
years.
homeowner and pay it, and then you move your house 2 years, in 2 years, the new homeowner that moved in is gonna see a check back from the town of Nottingham saying, here you go. We don't send it back to whoever built the house.
Original person,
Well, right, but that makes
It's the
sense because
property.
they
It's
paid,
for their,
They pay the
Right.
property.
yeah,
they paid for it one way or another.
Those impact
Right.
fees are
It's extremely
in a
limited.
crazy complicated process too, and there's special consultants that come in
But-
to do it. It's a really kind of,
It's extremely limited on what it can be used for, so the
Yes, it
school
has to
is
be used for
never
very
able to use
specific
it
things.
because there's very little.
you need to build something new, is what the
We're
impact
trying
fee.
to use it for the preschool
Right.
renovation, but I don't know where that sits at this
I
point.
have this amount of that one, so, but like the
with,
fire
with all the
department.
developments going on, right, like,
Oh, sure, it's coming in, the money's
that
coming
can't
in.
come to
All the
general
school
funds
money goes.
No.
for
back to-
buildings, or,
It can't go to, it can only go to additions, new things.
the theory being the additional people coming into town are creating an additional burden. So it's based around the concept that you need new things to support those additional people.
Right.
So
what about-
the way the law is actually written is it all has to be new, it can't be renovation. So unless you're doing a whole new thing, you can't use the money.
So the
Or
fire
an
department
addition.
wants to add, if you go in the side door where they sell the Christmas trees, you know, the side door there, they wanna add a rain thing over there, so the water doesn't come down. That's a new structure that's going on side of the building. They might be able to use impact fee money because they're adding something new. Now, if there was one there that was falling apart, they couldn't use the money to fix it.
If they wanted to gut a room or something like that, they can't.
Can't do it.
If they wanna put a new roof on, something outside, like a doghouse on the side of the building or
Right,
something.
I think actually even some of the impact fees actually would've went to, cause we paid off that, I think the 2 rooms they built upstairs for the people, the full-timers to sleep over, I think that was actually had money that was used for that. Cause that was a brand new addition.
That's,
they were putting
that's
on.
that's a new
That would be-
entity
New
inside the
building.
building
Exactly.
that's going
To
on.
support the growth of the town, add the new firefighters, so it falls under the criteria for
But you
that.
can't reno a bathroom or replace doors. or-
No,
Yeah.
but the rec can use money for like Marston to put, when we put that well in. All right, cause that's new, and the town's also using that because that's an emergency water source for people in town. So let's say we go through a major drought, all right, and like, 25% of the town doesn't have water. We have a public water source for everybody to go there and get as much free water as they want.
Unless that goes drought, right?
Right.
That well.
let's try to.
yeah, hopefully it
Good,
doesn't, but.
especially close to that Route 4 area,
Yeah.
right, that issue.
Pretty wet down in that corner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's again, what's it for, so we were able to
Right.
take the money and use it towards that.
Shame we can't use it for like roads, you know, extra
Nope.
wear and tear on the roads, and
Nope,
It's
You don't
not
use it
new.
for
Development.
new roads.
nope,
what about the new lake roads? They're new roads.
nope.
Dang, really?
They're not
Well-
doing anything to the,
Well,
Not doing anything.
Cause they were pre-existing roads, even when they called them emergency lanes, they were still in the
They were
umbrella
fire lanes
towns.
or whatever, right? Or whatever that term is, yeah.
So,
it's not like we're paving them.
That's true.
There's no
That'd be a
standards
nightmare.
requiring it.
trust me, we're not doing that, so
Don't even talk about that.
that's never gonna happen as long as I have the chance to voice.
Well, no, I've run the numbers, it's always cheaper to keep a gravel road going than pave it, unfortunately.
So the big thing is, again, what we're gonna have to figure out, guys, when you see this, well, I'll get a revised copy, because again, me and John, the, TA talked about this today, so again, I wanna put this in front of you, just so you have an idea, so you're gonna get a revised copy, so basically kind of throw out this other one.
Alright,
And when you see that, at this next meeting, we'll have the hard numbers for this. So at least you'll get an idea where we're going, but you'll see the hard number, 'cause I want you guys to see what the actual number that needs to be cut is,
yeah.
all
But
right?
it's just a
That's what we're gonna have to go
75,000
find.
difference, right? Is that what,
Roughly right, right.
that's only changed.
But again, that number, you know, also to that 75 where it says projected increase in revenue, we'll have a hard number on that. Hopefully it's not 72,000 that came in, hopefully it's 78 or 80, so we can knock a little off that, you know, cause that revenue is gonna offset the cost of what you need to cut.
So when he did the default budget calculation, he put in the 225.
Again, I don't know why he did it this way. You got me?
No, I'm saying it's already in there, in the default.
I know. Okay, so it's already, if it's already in there, then that's, yeah. We're gonna go over it all again
Yeah.
tomorrow, because it was a little bit,
This was,
Unhazed,
Right.
just when you found it, yeah.
so, which I apologize for not being a little bit more, but
No worries.
It is what it is. It
Yeah, better
so
we
you
find it
didn't
now,
put
you
the
know?
75 in, so I guess that's the question is, should that actually be 300?
again, that's why I don't know. Cause is the 75 might be in this 419 when you add this number here.
No,
The
this-
75 might,
4419
the
is
75
the
might actually be,
Article
I don't know if the
4.
75 is in the last year out of the 300,000, if they already did that or not. I didn't get a chance to go over all that, to look at that, so.
Cause he just took the Article 4 number,
Right.
but he only added the 225, which should. I don't know why he did
No, the 225 is the right amount for 2023.
But what about the 75 for 2022? He didn't put that.
That was 1/4 or whatever, that was 2022 monies.
But it became part of the budget for 2022.
Yeah, right, well, it's kind of,
I'm also taking a day off next week, so I'll probably have a chance to sit with Betsy and go over all these with her.
trying to work all week. It's terrible.
No sympathy here.
I know.
Anybody have any questions? You worried about some of the other fun things we're talking about?
Sure. Yes. Yeah. Let's hear it.
So, we're actually talking about Courtney, you know, is doing a great job with the rec department, but her and her 3 people are, if you guys saw where the rec department is, how they're all tied in there. Like, one doesn't have a desk, one's using a laptop monitor, you know, so they gotta wait and they move. So then we have an old, room similar to this size here. It's a little wider, but just not as long, right on the side of the building over here, and it's full with like recreation stuff and, not full, but. So one of our plans was to actually take this room here, this conference room, and move it down there. And then take Courtney out of there and build half this into office. So that, and then have a door that goes into her office in here. Then when people come in and meet with Courtney, for instance, for like a financial thing, you know, cause they're looking for help, cause they can't afford the after school program, she has a nice office to at least sit them down and have a family. Now she can't even sit them down. You know, it's really not an environment that's, you know, for, especially on sensitive subjects and stuff that you wanna have privacy. You know, even having it here, everything echoes loud and you gotta record, I mean, it's just not the, so move her here, then take all the storage stuff she has in there and throw it in here also. But then she'll have an access out over there.
Yeah, that's
And
very
this, and she also thinks this would be safer because again, you'll have a hallway in order to come here is for active shooters. So the
Way
police
out.
Closer to
department,
the gym too.
right, and it's closer to the gym, well, it's not really closer, 'cause she's right there to the gym,
Well,
but,
no, but instead of using that other space.
Well, it also makes it quieter for us when we have meetings, because we don't have to interfere with anybody in the gym or doing anything like that. Again, it's just a theory, we're tossing it out, because she does need more room for the expansion of what she's doing. It shouldn't cost too much money, because again, the door's already there, we don't really need to, I mean, it's a little framing, little
Yeah.
you know,
Few
maybe,
interior partitions is not a big lift.
maybe anybody that does any kind of work like that wanna help out town? Buy materials, do free labor, which are on TV, but, you know,
Making a great case.
Use, what's called funds.
well, we actually can
Impact
use,
fees.
rec revolving funds.
Can you use impact fees for that?
We might be able to, yeah. So that's another way. So
Call
I
this a
mean,
new space.
We're pretty confident we're
Yeah.
gonna get it paid for without really having a tax number that's gonna affect anybody. It should be all taken care of in-house without having to do anything, but the plan is, we'd like to see, and that was one of our big discussions, is moving her in here, having the whole back there, but we have to take all the electrical, all the TV, the monitors and all the stuff and bring it over there. And then we will have to add a second access door, an emergency door on the side of that building. I mean, on the side over there, which goes onto the
You're
cruisers,
talking about,
so that we can have two accesses, one out here, one over there. But that's just putting a door in, I mean, that's not, and it'll be an emergency door where it only opens from the inside out and not out from in, with an emergency thing on there, so no one can go in there and tamper or open it, it'll be, you know, alarm will go or something like that, so that it's secured and only meant for emergency use only. But that's the plan we're trying to, because Courtney is growing. I mean, you look at all our numbers, everything's growing, the amount of participations, everything is just increasing.
Yep.
You know, people are using the services for what they have, it's for the after-school program, you know, the summer program keeps going, cause people have to work, and the program's great, cause their kids can come here for 6-7 hours out of the day, and it's fairly inexpensive.
The wrestling
and they're
program,
doing access.
the wrestling program went from like 7 kids to like
Sure.
20 kids this year.
So a
It's
lot of
great.
good things that are going on,
great.
so it's just something to be cognizant about whether you use the programs or not, but it is for something that people in town are finding a valuable resource. So whether you like it or not, you know, it's something that I feel that we should support.
Sure.
How many phone lines do they have? No, I'm just kidding.
How much postage should they use?
Well, we'll probably have to add one in here too, because we don't have one, so. But or we can take it, just wire it through the wall, but that's, and we might have to put a door here that goes right into Courtney's office. And again, we haven't, when we have finalized plans, we'll have to get it approved through the voters and have a, you know, drawing sketched out and everything like this for what it is. It's just kind of what's on the,
Yeah,
you know, we'd like to see it happen
food
before.
for thought.
Yeah.
it makes more sense for rec to expand to here than to down the hall.
Right, cause even there, when, like, people say, you know, that room's not big enough for this, if we feel like a meeting's gonna have, I mean, I've been to many meetings, how many meetings do we really have more than 10 or 15 people?
If you pull out that partition that's in there and just clean that.
Well, we could, again, that might just take that wall off there, I don't know if it's a
Right.
load-bearing wall, I have no idea what it
It's
is,
just
so.
a divider that was put up at some point.
But that would be, you know, that room there would be adequate, and then if it got really big meetings, you just basically schedule time out to have it in the gymnasium, you just bring everybody in there.
I mean, cause if you, I mean, that room is probably the same square footage, more or less, of this. If you take out that partition, but more square.
Correct, yep. So that was part of our big discussion that we had at the BOS, and then actually how we're gonna use, you know, because of the more enrollment and everything within there, you know, funds that Courtney has for her rec revolving have gone up a little. So we're gonna try to use some of that funding in order to pay her, maybe her assistants and stuff like this, so that we can bring down that line item on the budget,
No, that's good.
you know,
because
and
it
use that
should.
money that the people, because the people that are paying to use the services,
Right.
well, you might as well pay for the
People who
administrators that
are,
are
yeah,
running the
absolutely.
service.
Right, exactly, that,
So-
Gotta find money somewhere, and it's a good spot.
So that's something we're looking at, you know, the question is how much, you know, because we don't wanna overdo it and then not have enough
Well,
money for next year.
it was still a cheap program, we used it for
Yeah.
many, many years, you know what I mean?
I mean, rec should
Stick
take.
Yeah.
But if we can get 40
Super
grand, that's
affordable.
40,000, we don't have to cut out of the
It's a
budget,
no-brainer, you know?
you know, so we'll figure out exactly what we're
Any
gonna need
other
on that.
program is untouchable, price-wise.
So we're trying.
Sounds good.
Best I can say is that we're actually, you know, putting our best foot forward on this, you know, but again, it's, it'll get tough when we come down to crunch time.
Yeah, rec should kind of be self-funding.
It almost is to a point, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's not far off, I mean, right now, it's not holding that much in the budget compared
Nope.
to its revolving fund. percentage wise, it's not very close.
It's just-
They're pretty close.
She doesn't really
Doing a
ask
good
for a
job
lot
of it.
either, which is nice.
Anything else?
Oh, if you're looking for your tax bill, it's gonna be late, so don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
I'm not filming with confidence, I'm not
This
gonna
is
lie, John.
recorded, right?
Well, you
This
will,
is
you will
recorded.
get it, whether it comes
Here
on
first.
Christmas Day as a Christmas present or not, but you still will have the same 30 days in order to pay the bill from once you receive it. So time-wise, doesn't make a difference. Once you receive it, the same statute applies, that you have 30 days from when you receive it to get it. There was a couple little, glitches and,
At least we gave money back.
right, so the glitches that delayed the process from our normal time that we usually bring it in, you know, which might be the beginning of November. I think it lasted to the end of November before we got it in. And it was, let's just call it, not to throw anybody under the bus for reasons why, it was just a misfortunate that something happened. But it has been fixed, and, hopefully we will, once the state comes back with a number.
I don't think too many people's
we
gonna
will
be
get it.
complaining,
They-
the big
they've
tax
been
bill. if it's-
calculated. They're all been calculated now and getting ready to be sent out, or?
No, we're not even there. We haven't got the number back from the
Oh,
state yet.
Okay, oh, so they haven't been
the tax
calculated.
Oh, yeah, so we might, I mean, this might,
Okay, so it's still dragging on, okay.
you might not see it for 2 weeks, could be, you might not see it till mid-December, or,
Christmas.
well, if you didn't plan your money out financially, you're gonna have an extra little bit of time to save up for it again,
Yay.
so, think about
Budget your
that.
household, right?
I still got a mortgage, I'll tell the bank to hold it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're understand.
Yeah.
So, that being that, but again, apologize for the numbers being messed up, we will have that done. And, yeah, if you look at the fire department numbers, just so you know, where I think the fire department's gonna be asking for more money. Because last year they only had in 2021, they only had 2 full-timers. And now we're trying to get 6. And this is, we were hiring 3 because in the original, we used to have 3, but we never actually staffed 3. Because if you look at the numbers through there, when we're paying people, you know, I mean, if you're making over 40, you're full-time on the fire department, but if you're only making, 8 or 7, you're probably just a volunteer that's coming and doing jobs and stuff like this. You know, there's 2 that were at the 15 to 20 mark, so they're really not quite full-time, So it's a 2.5, how do you ever figure it? So that's why I wonder where that's gonna come in from next year. Not really our problem this year, but it will be our problem come the year after. Because I'm sure that there's gonna be more money asked for, but that's just because nature of the biz, right? Everybody wants to make more money. You know, no one's working for less.
Yeah, I seen eggs at Market Basket, it was like almost $7 for 18 pack, yep.
So at least gas went down a little today. But that's all I got for everybody. Any questions for me?
How's your blood
No.
pressure?
My blood pressure is pretty good. I took some Calm before I came, took an anti-stress pill.
There you go.
Tom's not here, so I
Is it
might have a little easier. So,
Carol, do you have anything for us?
So we have a BA starting on Monday,
Nice.
a BA is,
like a finance manager. He's actually not currently certified, but has been certified in the past. And he's coming from a different line of work, so he's not coming from another school district. But hopefully he'll get up to speed quickly. And in the meantime, our superintendent's putting our budget together. And I emailed John and Michelle to say, so we have our next board meeting next Wednesday, and there was confusion, at least on our part, about when you were actually expecting the first draft of the proposed budget, but we will be reviewing it again Wednesday, which would not give any lead time for Thursday. And I thought it would make sense for us to present it on the 15th.
I mean, if you're looking at it the day before,
Well, that, you had down on the bottom on the schedule that we would provide it on the 16th for the 22nd, but I think it would be better if we could present it sooner. Cause if we wait until December 22nd, there's not a whole lot of time after that before we get to the hearing on January 12th.
I think we just wanted it in time to
So
have a
we have-
chance to look at it, but like, instead of like giving it to us right now for us to look at.
Well, that's what I'm saying, if we give it to you, by either next Friday or the following Monday, then you'd have it before the 15th. So rather than waiting until December 22nd, we could potentially do it December 15th.
I don't think it's gonna hurt to get it earlier.
No,
Yeah,
no,
but I don't know
no.
that
We can do
there's
it
any.
earlier, great, I think the 22nd was kind of our hopeful sort of last.
So we're not
At the
gonna get
last.
anything next week, is what you're saying?
It doesn't make sense to give you a draft that we then changed the night before, because we're gonna probably make changes to it on December 7th. So if I give it to you in advance of December 8th, it won't be accurate.
So next Thursday, we technically, because I'll get this revised and done, and sent over to everybody, you'll have it on an email.
We're also trying to make this calculation for ours, which we haven't done yet. So we don't know what our target
Maybe
number.
next Thursday, we don't need a meeting.
Yeah.
But there wouldn't be, even if the town had a new draft budget, there's not gonna be, we've already gone through it and spent
Yeah,
3
we're,
hours
we don't
going
have a
through it.
meeting next Monday, and we have a meeting coming up the week after that, and that Monday, we're actually gonna go through the budget and actually go through line by line, and really try to come back with you guys with a hard number. Because then we'll have our projected numbers, we'll know what we need to cut to try to get to where that 4% mark is, so that we can come with you with some real ideas of what we're thinking.
So maybe we flip-flop, because that means you guys won't have a revised draft until.
So we flip in the 15th and the
12th or
22nd? Does that make sense then?
That would be fine, that would make sense.
Because you won't do your revised draft till the 12th, so you wouldn't be able to get it to us until close to the 15th anyway.
Yeah, we have a meeting on Monday, so we can do it Tuesday, Wednesday, and we have Thursday, so at least.
Right, so I'm saying we can get our drafts by the 12th at the latest to the budget committee.
That'd be great.
And so
then
we
can-
present on the 15th.
All
And
right.
then you guys can do either the 15th or the
It
22nd.
stinks if we just get everything at the very last minute. and
Right.
have no
I think-
idea What's going on and
I mean, if we wanna do a long, I think it's gonna be a long meeting anyways on the.
But what if we do the
15th?
school first on the 15th, and then if there's time, we can go over the revised town one? If they didn't give it to us ahead of time, we could just bump that to the 22nd.
Right, that's what I was thinking. If we did
Everybody
them
has
both
it.
at the same time, it would, I would rather, would you rather have a
Everybody
long
already
meeting?
has a town budget, in a nutshell. You already have line items, you see
Yeah,
what
yeah.
everything is. So you guys can be doing that homework at home. When we come with our suggestions, you should already have all yours written down of what you think, whether they coincide with
Sure.
ours or not. Cause that'll be a meeting that will probably go line item by line item, so it'll take us 3 freaking hours, but and that's where we'll find out where that actually goes.
So there's no changes to the one that we saw when we had the department
We didn't
heads?
talk, we didn't
Okay.
look at it, we were talking about other things.
So,
And we have to fix this, Tom. I gave you a sheet that I kinda redrew up.
Yep,
And then I don't know that we'll even need the meeting on the 29th, like, we won't have another meeting. So if we present ours on the 15th, we will take feedback from that meeting, and we'll have our last meeting in December on the 21st.
All that matters is the meeting's posted.
Yeah. No, I know, I'm just saying, but I don't think we need next
so the
week's meeting,
15th,
for
we'll,
sure. And
we'll
then we
do
can
the
decide
school
on-
budget.
Right. And we may have a updated default, which is only a few changes to it, but we may have an updated default ready.
Budget, school address.
The default, we're taking things out. There were things, in the SAU budget that shouldn't have been in there.
are we gonna get like the full line by line default budget?
I don't know if we'll have that for the 15th, but at some point we will. We're trying to get the proposed one for the 15th.
And then the town on the 22nd, unless we can fit it in on the 15th, then we won't need a meeting on the 22nd. Is that what we're saying?
Or the, yeah, either 23rd or 29th. I mean,
I wouldn't go
I'm not
for
sure
so many
people
meetings.
wanna,
29th is town.
I'm not sure anyone wants to come on the 29th,
No.
Too much
Yeah, I don't,
eggnog or
I don't wanna do
something.
that.
or too many people.
So then we're saying no meeting on next week. No one's gonna be ready.
Yeah, we won't be ready to present.
Nothing's
for
ready
the-
Okay,
for the 8th, it doesn't sound like.
so let's cancel the 8th then. Right? So then the 15th, we'll do the school budget, the 22nd, we'll do the town budget, and hopefully the 29th, we can not have a
The
meeting.
select board is meeting on December 27th, so we will have information on that day too, so
Oh, okay.
just, you know, we're
All right.
jumping extra
We'll keep it then.
meetings in order to make sure that we get prepared for what you need.
Okay.
Not saying the schools won't do that.
We had a 3-hour-long budget meeting
Right.
already, so.
Alright, I'll save it.
And then, well, and by the 22nd, we might be able to have our warrant articles, which I don't think there'll be very many.
Yeah, we'll be talking that
We
in the
put-
month of December, we'll have our warrant
We're
articles.
putting
hopefully.
2 or 3 RFPs out to get estimates, so that when we put them on the warrant, we know a good number. So one is for the flat roof, to see if we wanna go forward with that this year as a warrant article.
Okay,
That's the roof over the gym,
3
It's one of the
RFPs
leaks.
for the
the one
roof.
that leaks, yes. So that one we're putting out for an RFP, and then the science room renovations that we would have done as part of the building project, we're doing an RFP for that too.
Science room Reno RFP. So for the roof and the science room,
How much money is in the maintenance fund?
So that's part of what we have to determine is, can we pull enough out of the building maintenance, or do we need to, we could do you can do partial out of the capital reserve and partial out of, warrant if we need to. But we have a lot of other things that we might need to use the capital reserve for, so. There's 2 roofs, the air handlers, and then we had a HVAC issue currently that we may pull out of reserves to pay for that. I think that's like 50,000.
yeah. Anybody have any questions for Carol?
So we'll plan to have our superintendent, be here on the 15th.
Okay.
You wanna make a motion to adjourn?
I don't have anything to report for CIP. I know we're getting ready to start having meetings.
Has that been scheduled yet?
I don't know, I haven't checked my email, so
We had
I,
a discussion on that on the meeting where, because one of the things was, it's stupid, but, you know, again. The town administrator used to always kind of set it up, you know, and then set the meeting and say, listen, then you have a CIP. And it would actually, you know, say, hey, listen, who's coming from the planning board and stuff like this.
coming from budget area.
Well, because of the turnover of the town manager, a lot of that stuff kind of just fell through about who was taking the lead. And saying who's coming from the planning board, who's coming from the general public, who's coming from the budget committee, who's coming, you know, so that's why it got delayed, but.
Okay,
But that has, been taken care of. And we're actually writing up something so that in the future this doesn't happen. Have an official set of guidelines
oh, okay,
on how the CIP gets set up every year to be reviewed with the people that are supposed to be on it.
okay,
Because, you know, I was on the CIP back in 2010 when I was on the planning board. And it was still a shit show on how we set it up back then, so. This way we'll have a more detailed line, you know, so next year we'll know October 1st, or all the department heads will know to nominate or put somebody forward, and then, so they can have that first.
Beginning,
so you
right.
Have your first meeting in November, not December.
right,
It's late.
So we've been working on updating ours, both in terms of when things might get scheduled on the CIP, but also updating the estimates, so that's
Yeah.
part of the, you know, the roof issue is that those estimates were old.
okay.
So we didn't feel confident in those numbers, so that's why we're doing an RFP.
Are you the CIP rep for, you know?
Megan is.
Megan is, oh, that's right, you did tell me that.
John, I got a question for you about, this amount to be raised from taxation from the 2022. Do you know if this, so you take the budget from last year and you subtract out the revenue, right?
Where are you?
I'm not not any particular number on here. I'm just saying they subtracted out the revenue from last year.
Well, no, the revenue was, I think, added in, that's why you see on line 5, we're predicting that we're making 75,000 more than what we did last year for revenue.
Yeah, but I meant when they calculate the amount from the previous year that was needed to be raised from taxation, there was all that money that the state legislature returned, the state, like the meals and rooms tax stuff that they gave like a bonus to all the towns. And I'm wondering if that got counted, because technically, like when the budget got passed at town meeting, I don't think we knew we were getting that extra money.
Yeah, but I think there's a, I'll find out, but
You can look on the report and see where he got the numbers from. Cause it says on here, not counting fund balance, revolving revenue, special revenue, capital reserve. So if you look at the report, it will tell you.
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that thing.
Do you think that falls under special revenue?
If it was,
I don't know if it has to fall under revenue or not. Is what it is. It could have been the fact that they gave us the overture of the money and said to us, listen, you just gotta go spend it the way you want to on infrastructure, road, paving, doing whatever.
I don't think it had any conditions on it.
Right, so
Yeah.
I don't think that we were gonna take that money in order to, I think we spent it all. I'll get that exact answer. Oh, I think we spent whatever they gave us. Or had a plan to spend it, or we are spending it,
Yeah, I
one
don't,
way or the other.
I'm not talking about where you spend it, I'm wondering if that gets you more cushion in your 4%.
I'll have to ask. I don't know. Yeah, if there's an excess amount that we could put in there and add it towards revenue, that would be something.
Yeah.
That
I
would
had
be-
no idea calculating the
would be-
tax cap was so difficult.
That would be very okay. Hey, I don't have a $4 million budget at home, so it's a little different from my own budget, so, you know, you got a lot more of the line items than I have,
Just
you
a little
know,
bit.
for my 10, so.
It would just be so much simpler if it
$50 million
was,
budget, and I swear to
Wouldn't
Christ,
it?
this is.
it'd be so much simpler if it was the bottom line budget and you didn't have to worry about the revenue stuff,
There's
but the
less
way the
items-
law is written.
Less items probably in that.
Probably. But again, we'll have this revised and refixed, and again, I probably have a day off next week that I'll sit with, whatever, I'll get it, you know, revised so that we can email you guys all out, so you'll have it ahead of time to look at before the meeting.
Okay.
And a little bit more legible and clearer form than what I did, but.
It's okay.
You didn't like.
We
your
could
chicken
totally
scratch?
read it.
I could
It's
read like
fine.
3/4 of the words, it's pretty good.
So Tom, the reason why the column, did you see where it says 225 from 300? I crossed out 300?
Yeah.
That's because the warrant article read that the fire department was looking for expenditure of 225,000. And that last year we spent, in the budget, we spent 75,000. And the fire
it's the
department
current year.
predicts, right. He was thinking that it's gonna cost 75,000 to employ 3 new firefighters every 4 months, so that's when, so this number was wrong, that's why we had to take off the 75. Which made our go the other way, but.
So he'll fix it and make it nice and pretty for us next time.
When I went and I added it up from our meeting with the department heads for the town, the total in the proposed budget, phone and internet expenses is 23,118. And total postage across all the town stuff is 16,120. So if we could find like a way to do paperless billing for people, that could make a substantial difference in that 16,000.
That's not all billing.
No, it's not all billing, but if you had, so I know that the Avatar people have some sort of paperless billing option, because I saw it for some other town. But if the town had like people's names and addresses on file, and they opted in to say, I would like paperless whatever, then whenever you gotta mail them something, you could just say, oh, they're one of the people that prefer an email, right? Like even the town newsletter, you could send them a PDF of that.
Yeah, because you're not gonna give it to everybody, because
Yeah.
people just like the mail.
And it should be opt-in, like you shouldn't just be like, because some people don't have email addresses.
Hopefully it won't be an expensive software to do that, but.
Well, that's why I'm saying like they already kind of have it with Avatar, so it may be something the town's already paying for with the assessing costs. And then the phone and internet stuff, I don't know if there's a way to do it, but you know, you got different buildings on here all paying for internet stuff versus when you look at like phone stuff, all the departments in this building are all sharing phones right now, except for rec department. For some reason, they had like their own phone expenditure in here, even though my understanding is the whole building's on one system now. But places like the highway department, right, that's like the salt shed over there, and the library, those are all potentially close enough to this building that you could have a wireless link to all of them, and just have the one internet service going into this building and just being beamed, because
So we
presumably,
had a little issue too, is at the Historical Society right over there, you know, the Dame School. All right, the internet that we hired here in order to keep the cost down, and because we don't have free Wi-Fi, or this is not a hotspot, you know, or whatever like that, you know.
dead spot.
Yeah, it is.
Seriously.
It's like as soon as you walk in the
Because
building.
it costs extra money to make sure that goes further. So it's a cost, like how much would it cost? Because if we expanded our internet from here to over to the school and over, I mean, that's a lot of, internet.
who does the internet like infrastructure in here? Does the
We
town
have
have
a
a
private
guy
company
or?
that we consult. That's pretty cheap out of, I think, Newmarket.
Well, cause like it's
Market rate.
kind of a one-time expense to set up the link, and you should be able to use the existing service here.
Yeah, exactly, but again, I don't know what the excess charge to do or whatever that's just, we'll have to look in that. Because that keeps going up every year, even though the service doesn't change, they just keep charging you more for it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, keep that as a good note.
But you're saying it's 23,000 for internet?
23,118. Like fire department's 2,000, highways 1,800, recycling's 2,000, libraries 800, recs 300. You know, there's
Based
3,600
on how
for
much
fire.
gig you're using, you know what I mean, like a tablet or phone, you know how you go over?
I don't know, like some places
You know what I mean?
have to get a commercial account.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we found out the reason the library was so cheap is there's some special deal for them.
Well, why don't we piggyback off the
Send
library?
Yeah,
that-
right?
Send an email
Send it
to
that-
Bet, you have
this way.
Betsy's
Send it
number,
over here.
email.
Send it over
Send
here.
those questions to Betsy, cause she's the one that's gonna see who
seems
breaks
high,
down, cause she's paying all the
23,000.
bills.
For internet.
So she's gonna tell you why, it's gonna say, or she'll be able to find the bill, so we can at least look at what the bill says. X amount of, whatever it is for this thing, or what X amount this year, or however the bill reads, so we can determine the question of why it's. Cause again, I have no idea how, what they charge, if it's gigawatts or whatever it's called, or, I don't know. Yeah, he got me.
You want
But then
unlimited.
she'd have a bill from them.
You might wanna change the
So
plan to
That might
unlimited,
actually
right?
tell you what it is,
Yeah,
so.
but presumably places like the salt shed, they're not using a whole bunch of bandwidth.
Right.
So, but we're paying $1,800 a year for them to have internet access over there versus for $1,800, you can get 2 point-to-point wireless links, put them on the roofs, point them at each other, and then it just bridges the internet over there.
Sure. Well, send that all to Betsy so that we can talk about it, cause she'll put it in the thing for when it comes to the board.
Awesome. Does anybody else have any parting
good.
thoughts or?
I'm just looking at this vendor list. You think it's on the vendor list here from the 2021 report?
the
Yeah,
vendor
I
list?
see Verizon here, you know, this is what all the bill, right, payments we did.
Right, but it's
List
like
everything.
just both together for the whole year.
Not looking down.
Yeah.
Verizon's only 3,500.
Yeah,
Maybe-
it's only
is it
3,500.
Xfinity? Is that on there? No, so maybe it's Comcast.
Probably either Comcast or Consolidate.
All right, so we have a motion to adjourn?
16,000 Comcast.
I make a motion to adjourn?
Second, somebody second.
Second.
All those in favor to adjourn tonight?
Aye.
Aye. Motion
And for the record, because there is no video, that was everybody and it was unanimous.